Good morning, everyone. Here's your Eastern Idaho planning and weather briefing for Saturday, February 6th. Northwest flow does continue over the region. We have another round of light snow and strong winds for today. We do dry out, though, starting tomorrow and really Monday into Tuesday and most likely into Wednesday as well. Later next week, the moisture returns. The question is how cold it will be. The pattern has been shifting from really cold to staying rather warm, especially across the lower elevations of the Snake Plain into the Magic Valley, into the Treasure Valley. This trend's probably going to not change, not get a really good handle on it, I should say, until we get into next week. There's that northwest flow, the ridge out over the Pacific. That surge coming in for this morning. You notice not a lot of cloud cover. These cloud tops, when you see the brighter colors, indicates there's a little bit more moisture potentially involved in the pattern. Not much headed our way. And in fact, as the pattern shifts over the next couple of days, it's not going to be as breezy either. So we saw some pretty good winds yesterday. We'll see some gusty winds for today, but Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday, the winds really start to let down across the region. And you'll notice for today, our main impact area is not any type for mainly precipitation across the Snake Plain and in the Magic Valley. It's the gusty winds for today. We might still see a brief window of upslope along the benches from Pocatello on up towards Rexburg, maybe even over towards American Falls for later on today. But the best chance of seeing some snow and gusty winds and some blowing snow impacts will be in portions of the eastern highlands and the southeastern highlands. We're already seeing that this morning in that stretch from Rexburg over towards the Teton Valley and Teutonia. And some minor impacts potentially across the Central Mountains, especially in the Sawtooth area and also maybe into Limhi County once you get to Salmon, back over to the west of 93 and on up towards Lost Trail Pass as well. We continue with a similar pattern, but the impacts tomorrow should be much less. Just still breezy, but not as breezy. And the last breezy day, at least for this little stretch here, is going to be Monday. And then the wind will likely start picking up just a little bit on Wednesday, but really not until the end part of next week. So let's take a look at how things are going to progress for today. And you'll notice there's not a lot going on this morning across the area. Maybe just a few light snow showers or flurries over the higher peaks of the Tetons for this morning. We go into later on today, that surge of moisture arrives. Here we are around noon, mainly in the highland areas over along the Wyoming border, also up towards Island Park. And you'll see the snow spreading into the area a little bit more for today. I think for the Central Mountains, it's not necessarily going to be in the lower elevations. It's going to be some along the ridges and peaks that we see a little bit of snow and blowing snow for today. And then continuing over in the Eastern Highlands, we go through the overnight hours, or at least in the evening and the overnight hours, still holding on across the Lost River Range, the Limhi Range, on up into southwest Montana. There's going to be a brief period that snow potential reaches the benches around Pocatello. I have a feeling that it's going to be farther on up into the mountains past the Portneuf Gap area down into the southeastern highlands. And then when we go to the overnight hours, things start to let up once again. And then we see one little more surge, not much of a surge coming during the day tomorrow, mainly over the higher elevations of the Central Mountains, especially once you get into Limhi County and up towards the Montana border, and around the Island Park area as well. And really, really not much going on Monday, except maybe a little bit of light snow up in the corner, and again, similar spots on the higher elevations into the western parts of Limhi County and Custer County as well. So moving on ahead here, we're going to see those winds picking up during the day, and you can see some of these gusts this afternoon in excess of 40 miles per hour across the Snake Plain into some of the higher elevations of the eastern highlands and into the Central Mountains as well. So where we see the snow and these gusty winds together, that's going to create the better potential for some blowing and drifting snow during the day. And some of this could be snow that's not necessarily falling today, that's already on the ground. Not much going on accumulation-wise, maybe a couple of inches in the higher peaks of the Central Mountains and the Sawtooths. Also, better chance of some accumulations, maybe a couple of inches at Pine Creek Pass, especially once you go over Teton Pass into the Tetons and the Yellowstone area. An inch or two once you get down towards the Bear River Range as well. And for this afternoon, temperatures warming up again. We're already warm with some of the wind across the area. Chalice will push 40 today. It'll stay near freezing or below freezing in the Island Park area on over into the eastern highlands around Driggs and Swan Valley. But you get to Blackfoot, 42 degrees. Burley, Twin Falls, Shoshone, 45 to 50 degrees even as you push back towards Mountain Home and Glens Ferry. There are those winds holding on this evening, still pretty breezy, so still some blowing and drifting snow, even though the snow will be slowly ending across the area during the evening into the early overnight hours. And you'll see some light accumulations across the higher elevations, maybe a little bit more around the Stanley area up towards Banner Summit, also up towards Lost Trail Pass. A couple of inches, maybe 2 to 4 inches over the higher elevations of the Bear River Range and on over into the Tetons as well. The winds overnight stay pretty strong. We usually don't get a lot of strong overnight wind events, but this looks like we could be having one, especially higher peaks and across the Snake Plain down into the South Hills and the portions of the Magic Valley as well. And those winds holding on slowly, ever so slowly, dying once we get towards sunrise for tomorrow. Not much snow expected in the overnight hours, just a smattering here and there, maybe a little bit more of accumulation over the Bear River Range, also in the Sawtooth Mountains as well, and up towards Lost Trail Pass. Tomorrow morning, temperatures where it remains breezy will be closer to the freezing mark. Elsewhere, we'll be down into the teens and 20s. The colder spots like Stanley and Copper Basin will be down into the single digits. Winds, just keep saying this, the wind's not really going to let up all that much until we get past tomorrow. So pretty breezy, but you can see where the snow continues on Sunday. Not much going on except in the usual spots. We still might have that potential for a brief period of light snow along the I-15 corridor, the benches from Rexburg down to about American Falls. Temperatures tomorrow will be slightly cooler across the area, still pushing above freezing once you get into the lower Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, down into the South Hills, also down towards Malad as well. And the winds Sunday evening continue to decrease, but still raining pretty strong across the area. There's that trend of the snow only really staying in the eastern highlands and the central mountains, that drying trend for tomorrow night. Monday morning, not as much wind, so it will be colder across the area. Temperatures will be in the 20s, where we have seen it closer to freezing in the overnight the past couple of days. Below zero in Stanley as well as Copper Basin. The winds there on Monday, look how much lighter they are. Still some gusts in excess of 25 miles per hour, but just a few snow showers over the higher elevations on Monday, and temperatures continuing to scale back in some areas where we were seeing it in the 40s, might barely push 40 degrees on Monday. And Tuesday morning, cooler still once again. But we're going to warm back up again on Tuesday with some sunshine across the area. Temperatures back into the lower to mid-40s down into the Magic Valley and the South Hills. We'll skip ahead to Wednesday morning. Temperatures starting to cool off just a bit. And we're going to skip ahead to Friday. By Thursday and Friday, the better chance of precipitation across the area. And this is where we're talking about the cold temperatures. This is just to give you an idea. This is a trend potentially. We're seeing temperatures potentially below zero once you get up north of Idaho Falls, also up into north of the INL and into the central mountains as well. Single digits and teens farther to the south. Highs in the teens and 20s, except once you get into the lower Snake Plain, into the Magic Valley, where temperatures might hit the freezing mark. The reason I say this might be a trend, when we've seen the models trend warmer, we're talking as much as 10 to 15 degrees warmer in some areas. So this is the potentially colder side of the pattern that we get into. If we don't get there, we're going to stay similar to where we've been. 40s from Pocatello back to the west, also south towards the Utah border, in the 20s and 30s once you get up farther to the north. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. So once again, this northwest flow is not going anywhere for a few days. Another round of snow and wind today, and slightly drier to start out the week. Well, if you have any questions, please give us a ring, jingle. We are here 24/7. Otherwise, have a great day, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, everyone.